guys, Jen Loves Wrestling here. Hope you're having a great day. We have got a super duper lots of stuff to talk about. So I'm going to get right to it here. I know last week I said it was not a great week for WWE. That's just the way I felt. There was really nothing monumental in terms of good quality wrestling on TV. But these things do tend to go in waves, and I feel like this past week was a lot better. Particularly yesterday. We will get to that. Oh boy, will we get to that. I'm so excited to talk about NXT. But I'm going to try and cover a little bit of all the brands real quick. Not a whole lot, not covering everything. Even with Survivor Series. Normally, when there's one of the major pay-per-views for WWE of the year, I would dig into every match and talk about that in length. I'm not going to do that because I felt the pay-per-view overall was decent to good, but unfortunately, there was no big surprises, nothing really monumental. I thought that the guys, the men's Survivor Series match, I think they did a great job. I think that they were very invested in that match. I think everybody looked great in the ring. You could tell everybody was putting their all into that match. There was really a lot of effort coming out of that match. And they pulled that off really well. It felt like a big fight feel. Some heavy hitters in there. Looked great. Men's Survivor Series match, great. Women's Survivor Series match, not so much. But here's the thing with that. And it shouldn't give the fans a free pass to disrespect this match. Or, honestly, any match. Because these people are still giving their all to you. And for the fans to act the way they did during that match is inexcusable, especially when the problems of that match had nothing to do with the talent in the ring. It was, I don't know really how to word this, but it really wasn't their fault. There was an amazing amount of talent in that ring. It's just they had a lot of extracurricular activity to deal with in that match. So I'm gonna move on past that, and it's a shame the way things turned out there, but, it is what it is. Charlotte versus Becky I actually quite liked, though. Not a huge fan of either one of them, actually, but I think that they really dug in to their history and the emotions, and they did exactly what I'm always asking of a feud that is this personal and this emotional and this heated, just to show that in your actions. And they really did, and it was a very impressive match from them. But that's all I'm going to cover on Survivor Series, though, honestly. I just think a lot of the other matches were, if you just want results, I'm sure there's a lot of other channels or websites you could go to. It's just nothing I have a passion about talking about. So we're going to talk a little bit about the other four brands, the four brands I should say, not 205 because they're not going to be counted here. I used to refer to it as the five brands, but if we're being honest, 205 has unfortunately become more of a superstar show, and I don't mean like star quality. I mean like, not that they're bad, but I'm just saying, in terms of the TV show Superstars, where it's just kind of random matches, they don't have anything to do with storylines, they don't have anything to do with, they're not their own entity anymore, the way that they were, back in the days of Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali, when 205 was really something, but, I don't want to talk too much about that either, though, because I'm already worried about this video going super duper long. But it's unfortunate, again, with 205, but let's start with SmackDown, then Raw, then UK, then NXT, so just those four. SmackDown, so the bad, we're gonna do with these two, SmackDown and Raw, bad, but here, we like to keep it upbeat, we don't like to dwell too much on the negative, so I'm also going to mention something that I really liked out of the show, too. The worst part of SmackDown for me was we took a little hit in the logic department with the Bloodline and Big E and Xavier Woods. So the close of the show was Big E came out to everybody's surprise and made the save to help out Xavier Woods. Here's the problem with that, and I know they wanted to make this to, a big surprise, big moment, and Big E showed up, okay. I get that, but the logic part with that, the problem I have is, where was he in the open of the show when Xavier Woods was getting his stuff trashed by the Bloodline? They cracked his scepter in half, they crushed his crown. Where was Big E then? Woods was all emotional, he's like crying and everything, so I mean, maybe in some span of the 2 hours, Big E wasn't there for the beginning of the show and he was there for the end, and just to justify this in my brain, because I hate when things don't make sense, we could go with Woods had some trouble in the beginning segment, therefore afterwards he called Big E, I need you here, can you help me out? We'll go with that. Alright, we'll go with that. So the good though, Sasha versus Shotzi. Need I say more on that one? Alright, two fantastic talents. Sasha being my favorite female wrestler in the world. Fantastic match on SmackDown. Raw, the bad egg, pun there, I guess. Okay, if you're gonna do the egg, this should have just culminated at Survivor Series and had somehow to do with the gobbledygooker. I would have accepted that. It would have been fun. It would have been cheesy, it would have been weird, but it would have been fun. Like, work him into this somehow. You have an egg, you have Survivor Series, come on, like, connect the dots there. But they didn't. Instead, this was just purely publicity for, a further cross-promotion that they were doing with the Red Notice movie. But there could have at least been a better explanation, and this could have went to a better place. Instead, it was completely illogical. And here we go again with the logic issues with the main roster. So Vince said that he would reward anybody who turns in the thief of his $100 million egg that The Rock got him. Okay, so Sami Zayn comes in the office. He had a conversation with a lot of people. Sami ends up showing up, though. Says he knows who did it, and he's going to bring that person in as soon as they get there. So as soon as Austin Theory gets there, Sami brings in Austin Theory. Austin Theory admits to this. Okay, so he had his own explanation, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, so on paper, Sami should be rewarded, which the reward also was, Vince McMahon was promising the winner would get a title opportunity, too. So, pretty big prize on the line there. And the loser, or the thief would, pay the consequences, obviously. It did not end up going down like that, though. And, again, it bothered me because, here's the thing. Sami turns in Austin Theory. And Austin Theory, the thief, was the one that was rewarded with the title opportunity. Meanwhile, Sami missed out, which further kind of justifies his whole conspiracy theory against WWE story. So basically we end up feeling bad for the heel, and the heel is justified in his actions. Which is not really how it's supposed to work, but okay. So moving on, because that was just all a bunch of weirdness. The good. Again, we're going to turn to the ladies on this one. Zelina Vega and Carmella not Carmelo Hayes. Zelina and Carmella, defeated Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley to become the new tag team champions. I love Nikki and Rhea, and they had a great title reign. But I'm actually super happy for Zelina and Carmella. Look how far they've both come. They gel very well as a tag team. The personalities, this just makes sense. And they're both really good in the ring. Zelina in particular is fantastic. Pretty underrated, honestly, I would say. So I'm happy for them. Congratulations to the new women's tag team champions. NXT UK, I just want to talk about the main here. If you follow NXT UK, you know that the past few weeks, Teoman and Rohan Raja have kind of been hinting at adding to their stable, adding to their family. Because family is who you associate with yourself with. It doesn't necessarily mean blood, it's who you associate yourself with. So they've been hinting about adding people, or adding, we don't know, people, person, whatever. They had a match in the main event versus Gallus, in particular Wolfgang and Mark Coffey of Gallus. So, and it was a very good match. And then, towards the end of the night, guess who appears? we got our answer of who Tio-Man and Rohan Raja were going to add. And it turned out to be, you guys know I love him. You guys know I've been waiting for him. Charlie Dempsey! Yay! Oh, Charlie Dempsey in the main event. Charlie Dempsey involved in the main event segment. Oh, I'm so happy. I love this pairing. I mean, it felt like this was when it was going to happen. I'm a huge fan of Tio-Man. I've been a fan of his since WXW, you know, when he was Lucky Kid. Rohan Raj is really great, too. I'm a fan of those two. Very cool entrance, too, by the way. I just got to add that in there. I love that entrance that they have. I love the song. I love the way that they line up. It looks very visually appealing. If you didn't check this out yet, check this out on NXT UK. It's a good time. So, yeah, they've been hinting about adding somebody, and the thing is, there too, Gallus is 3 members. It just felt like this was going to be the night. And of all the people to add, somebody that I'm already a gigantic fan of, and then aligning him with people that I'm also a gigantic fan of. So this was just it was a win for Tio-Man and Raj, and I'll get to that in a second, but it was a win for me too, because I'm super happy about this pairing. I screamed. I was over the moon about this. I thought this was going to be my big markout moment of the week. I was wrong. We did have one bigger markout moment, but I thought this was going to be the thing that stole the entire week for this company. But the good times kept rolling. So, but with this, all right, let's get down to how this happened. Towards the end of the match, Charlie Dempsey jumped the barrier. He attacks Joe Coffey. And this is also where it gets really good, too. So, Mark is in the match, seeing this, turns around, goes to attack Charlie. Charlie puts his fist up. But he doesn't hit Mark, because if he was to hit Mark, an active member in that match, that would have been a disqualification. Instead, it wasn't. Instead, it was a pinfall victory for Tio-Man and Raj. And then Charlie Dempsey came in the ring to celebrate with them / beat down Gallus. Always a good time. Great way to take that show off the air. Great new faction in NXT UK, you guys. I'm so excited. NXT. We're already on 12 minutes and we haven't even got to NXT. I can't make a short video. I can't. Okay, so NXT was so great. I'd say like 95% of this show was like fantastic. Exceptional. Probably the best show that they have put on in a very long time, with the possible exception of Halloween Havoc. But this overall just flowed. Everything was great. We'll get to that at the end too, how everything just kind of wrapped up in a tidy little package at the end, looking great. I loved it. But yes, so okay, so let's get to all of this, because there is a lot to get to. First of all, you knew the show was going to start out on fire when Grayson Waller interrupts the open, the then now forever thing, the opening clip, and he just cuts that right off, and he talks about how those people don't matter, but he should be included in the names of the upper echelons of NXT, of WWE, of wrestling, that his name should be included in there. This leads to Ciampa coming out and pretty much saying, And it leads to a match in which Ciampa was victorious. And this was a great match, by the way, too. I highly recommend this one. New look for Cameron Grimes after his haircut from Duke Hudson last week. I think it's an improvement. I'm a fan of long hair, guys, and I really like the long, shiny thing he had going before. But now it's like, he cut it, and it's like shoulder length now, and it looks even better. So I'm hoping that this new look is not short-lived, because this actually set up a hair versus hair with Hudson. So I guess we'll see what happens to Cameron's lovely locks. I hope he doesn't lose them. Okay, so that's another match for War Games. Alright, so we had an Andre Chase sighting, always a good time. Imperium showed up to save the bickering tag team segment of, I should be the number 1 contender. No, I should be the number 1 contender. Well, you're going to fight it out next week to see who will be the number 1 contender between Legato and Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. And the winner of that match, will face Imperium at War Games. Alright, so this was funny, I thought. Cora Jade, her kind of took a dig at Survivor Series. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but she's talking to her bickering teammates, and she kind of just walks up to him and goes, are we really going to do the whole can we coexist thing? It's outdated. It's an old trope. It's old. And I mean, they do this at every single Survivor Series, so I just really, I took this in a dig at Survivor Series, and I thought it was hilarious. I loved it. So go Cora on that one. Kaylee Ray ended up being the last member of their team to replace Zoe, who was injured. So the women have it sorted. They have their match for War Games is set up with Toxic Attraction plus Dakota Kai versus Kaylee Ray and Cora and Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray. So the women have it sorted. We still got to find out what the men's match is. So we'll get to that. Ivy Nile continues to impress. She had another match. And actually she has grown already quite a bit since her first match. She looked amazing. Picked up a real nice looking victory. If you're interested, go back and watch that. If you're looking to make a WWE watch list this week, I would add that one on. I'm a big fan of Ivy Nile since she debuted, and she's doing what I knew she was gonna do. She's just getting better and better and better, and I'm here for it. I'm supportive of her. Our main event. And here is where we tie up a lot of loose ends, and I'm gonna hope I don't forget anything and I get this right, because this is a lot to unpack. Okay, so the main event was Pete Dunne versus Johnny Gargano versus Carmelo Hayes for the North American title. Okay, so Carmelo Hayes ended up picking up the victory after Tony D'Angelo came out, and he interfered when Pete Dunne was trying to get a pinfall. He pulled Pete Dunne out of the ring. This was hinted in earlier on in the show that Tony said, they asked Tony who he thinks is going to win this match, and he says, if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on Carmelo Hayes, but you know who it's definitely not going to be? It's definitely not going to be Pete Dunne. He was talking a lot of trash about Pete there. So going into this match, it just felt like this wasn't going to be Pete's night, and they were heading towards a Dunne and D'Angelo feud. And, we've already have history here with Gargano and Hayes. So Hayes picked up the victory, but obviously Johnny has not forgotten what's happened to him in the past, what they did to Dexter Lumis. So after the match, after Hayes picked up the victory, he wasn't done. Him and Trick were not done, and they were going to try and do to Johnny what they did to Dexter by injuring his hand. So right when the chair was on Johnny's hand, Hayes goes up to the top rope. So we have Dunne in the ring, we have Gargano in the ring, we have LA Knight in the ring, who came out due to his feud with Grayson Waller. And so we have those three. Hayes goes up to the top rope, and guess whose music hits, guys? Guess whose music hits when Johnny is on the ground injured, and on the mat injured, about to get his hand broken off. Who comes out to save him? Ciampa! Guys, DIY. Okay, okay, this is just the point where I just lost my freaking mind about this. The crowd's chanting DIY, crowd's chanting War Games. We all want it. We're all, the setup was right there. So who comes out to make it official? Unfortunately, it wasn't Regal. We don't know why it wasn't Regal, but maybe the next best thing, Braun Breaker comes out. And he goes, War Games. And it was, I guess, made as official as you can get by Braun Breaker, inserting himself into the 1.0 side of this match. The 2.0 guys, so it's kind of like vets versus rookies here. The 2.0 guys, we have Dunne, we have Gargano, we have LA Knight, and Ciampa. And some people are questioning why LA Knight. He wasn't really around that long as the other three in NXT. LA Knight is a veteran of this business, though. If you're not aware of his career, of his background, He is definitely a veteran of professional wrestling. He deserves to be on the 2.0 team. He also has that veteran mindset. He has that veteran presence. I think he does fit in well with the vets, and I think this is like the dream team right here. I mean, they could not. I mean, it is for a non-Marcel War Games team. This is about as good as it gets. Okay. Loving this. Dunn, Ciampa, Gargano, and LA Knight on the vet side. On the 1.0 side, the rookie side, Tony D'Angelo, Grayson Waller, Braun Breaker, and Carmelo Hayes. And this is where everything tied in perfect. The entire show was leading up to this. Everything came down to this moment. All our storylines were neatly stacked up, and they came down to this. This was like the grand finale, the fireworks at the end of the show. Dunn and Tony were hinting at a rivalry there on opposite sides. You have Tony and Dunn. Then, of course, you have Hayes and Gargano. You have Waller and Knight, and you have Braun and Tommaso Ciampa. So everything worked out in a nice, neat little box there. I mean, this is honestly a masterclass on storytelling. NXT should have got an Emmy for this show, honestly. It was just brilliant. You have the four versus the four rivals, vets versus rookies, 1.0 versus 2.0. Ciampa and Johnny reunion, DIY. He kind of Ciampa kind of helped him out at the end. He picked him up off the mat, and he said something to him, and it was really nice. It was a really nice moment, and is it December 5th yet? I'm so excited, you guys. Okay, so we're going on almost 22 minutes. I did not think this video is going to be up at like 8 p.m. tonight, guys, by the time I upload it. Alright, so I guess that is, wow, that's all I got for now. That was a lot. That was a lot, though. I loved this episode of NXT so much. Oh my god, that ending, DIY, yay! I love it, you guys. I love you guys. Please subscribe, please like, share, all that stuff, and I'll see you next week. Love you, bye. Mwah.